right. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to do this. My name is Rami Kalla. I'm the owner and founder of Point in Time Studios. This is one of my favorite talks. I'm talking about XR, the future of XR, and that it is here. I've gotten to do this talk all over the world. Just recently did this talk in Napa. I was also in Austin, speaking to lots of, hundreds of marketers. And so again, this is something that really pumps me up, and I hope you all get a lot out of this meeting. So the way we're going to do it is if you have a question, anytime during the presentation, feel free to raise your hand and just you can either add it to the chat or you can ask the question. If you have something that can wait till the end, just add it to the Q&A box, and then we'll make sure to get to those questions at the end. I've got my awesome, colleagues here. So Elizabeth heads up our marketing department with Ann and Jevin, and then Ian, our head of innovation. So they'll be kind of chiming in and helping out as well. So let's get started. So a little background about myself. Been in business now for 23 years. I'm married with 4 boys. I've got this little fun picture here, me and my karate pose. Been doing martial arts for 23 years now. It's a lot of fun and had the pleasure of working with some amazing clients from the NFL, the NBA, PetSmart, and then lots of local and regional clients as well. So it's been a fun adventure. I really fell in love with XR about over a decade ago. I was actually, put on one of those Samsung Gear, headsets. We slide your phone in, and I'm watching LeBron warm up courtside, and I'm like, this is where it's going. This is the future, where I'm not only a passive observer, I'm in the experience. And so that's what really got me excited about XR. And the second experience, I was actually building a house, and they're saying, imagine that flooring with those countertops and those cabinets, and they just give you like a little square, and you have to imagine it. I said, why can't I just build it in VR and walk into my new kitchen? So that was really, again, the second experience. Said, there's something here, and that's where I started our XR division over a decade ago. So it's been a fun journey. So our why at Point in Time is to enrich and revolutionize the human experience, and we do that through our XR experiences. So I thought I'd kick us off with a really fun video. This is the Meta Orion. I actually just looked it up this morning. It's looking to come out the summer of 2027. So it's got a little bit of time. They have a prototype already, but they're trying to really, get it to where it's more affordable, get it, working a little bit better. But the technology in it is amazing. And so I think you'll really enjoy this video, and Meta will be coming out with this shortly. So hopefully the audio is working.
Phones are not going to be the end of the line. We're not going to be here in the 2030s communicating and using computing devices that are exactly the same as what we have today. And someone has to build that and believe in it.
Whoa. Meta invented a damn time machine. Hi, Nora. Daddy's calling from the future. I'm wearing these amazing AR glasses that you'll probably use when you grow up.
Over the next 10 years, the form factor is just going to keep on getting smaller and smaller, and eventually we're going to have what looks like normal-looking glasses.
You're looking at the culmination of decades of breakthrough inventions in nearly every field of computing. It's one of the hardest challenges the tech industry's ever attempted. See, Orion is a time machine. It'll let Meta live in the future as they build the next generation of AR experiences. Now let me nerd out for a second, because this is a technological marvel. The display isn't made of glass. It's made of silicon carbide, which delivers an unprecedented 70-degree field of view. That means Meta engineers figured out how to bend light beams in ways it does not like to bend. The frames are made of magnesium, just like an F1 car, because it's light and radiates away heat. I mean, you can't just put a fan in glasses. Orion cools itself by glowing. It uses the same materials NASA uses to cool satellites in space. You have to be absurdly determined to build something like this. But competitiveness runs deep around here. Mark wouldn't even let me beat him at Pong.
But then, of course, the full vision is you just have like a full field of view, holograms where, we're having this conversation in the future, and like I'm sitting on your couch next to you as a hologram, and we're just there, and we have this full sense of presence. Here we are.
Oh yeah, forgot to mention, large holographic displays. The real world is our canvas. Our experiences shouldn't be limited to glowing rectangles. One day soon, we'll once again look up, connected, empowered, and present.
Awesome. Hope y'all enjoyed that video. I'm I do not get paid by Meta. I don't get any sort of referral fee, but they've just been really a pioneer in virtual reality. What Mark Zuckerberg has done is really create, the headsets with the Quest, now the Quest 3S, where it's affordable, it's smaller, and you're seeing it really mass adoption, by people. Prior to, Meta getting involved in VR, we weren't seeing a lot of action, and activity from people purchasing headsets. So he's done a really great job. And I know with the Orion, he's trying to get it to where at the consumer level, at a price point where people can afford to buy these headsets. So very excited for it. Again, look for that in the next, year and a half. So what is XR? We're going to use a lot of terms today, and I want to make sure that, I help you all to kind of really understand what all the terminology means. Think of XR, it really means extended reality. It's an all-encompassing term to basically an umbrella over all the different things we're going to talk about today, all things immersive. So as we get specific, augmented reality, what is AR? So think of AR as an overlay of digital content in the real world. I use the example of Pokemon Go, right? You can put a little Pokemon on your desk, you can see your desk, you can see your office, and that little digital Pokemon Pikachu is sitting right on your desk in front of you, right? That's augmented reality. It's a mix of VR or CGI with the real world. Virtual reality, true virtual reality, is a full immersion. So you can no longer see the real world around you, you're just in this digital realm. And then mixed reality, think of being able to actually poke the Pokemon and he giggles, right? So you're interacting with that digital world in your real world. So you're mix the real with the digital, but you can interact with it. That would be an example of mixed reality. Now, Apple last year came out with the, Apple Vision Pro. It's an incredible headset. We have them at our studio. We're creating content for them. Really think about it's like having everything in your laptop on a headset. My wife and I went to Italy last year, and with my phone, I shot, a spatial video, and then we're actually able to put the headset on, and I'm back in Venice in the gondola rides with the Vision Pro on. It's very surreal, and you feel like you're there. Spatial computing is really another term for mixed reality. It's allowing the real world with the digital world to blend together. The headset has a lot of really incredible things, mixing sensors with AI, VR, and AR. So it really is Apple's terminology for a mixed reality world. Where is this all going, right? We're going to talk about, is this just a fad? Is this a gimmick? But show me the money, right? The Jerry Maguire should put that little clip in there. Show me the money, Jerry. We're looking at where this is going, $450 billion industry by 2030. So it's growing dramatically. I've been going to XR shows for about a decade now, and they start off really small. Ian and I just came back from one, and John, we were out in California, AWE. Even that show in the last year has doubled. So it's really cool to see as, the market has gotten bigger, there's more people in the industry. Consumers are expecting, immersive experiences, 70% of them, and we're seeing more agencies already adopting AR, VR into their mix. So definitely rapidly growing. And just, in the short term, 2028, it's projected to be $200 billion. So it's definitely on the right track. So what's this mean? We're going to see a significant investment. We're going to talk about some of the companies that are really investing heavily into this, like Google, like Meta, and what that looks like as demand continues to grow. Some of the things that, are really important, right? People say, oh, the headset's so big. Well, you saw Orion, they're going to get smaller. They're going to look more like what I'm wearing, glasses. They're going to come down and continue to come down in price. You can think about, everything from, computers to smartphones that they've gotten smaller, they've gotten faster, and they've gotten more affordable as technology has gotten better. So we're going to continue to see that adoption. So again, not a niche. It's definitely the next frontier for business engagement and solutions. So I'm going to pause for a minute here and have a little fun with some trivia. Elizabeth, do you want to maybe help manage the chat so people can, you can let me know what people are saying?
Course.
All right. Awesome. So which popular sport often uses augmented reality to display real-time information? Anyone want to take a stab at that?
Scotty Yang says the NFL.
Wow. Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Very good. That was very impressive. Yes, the NFL. The NFL uses holograms and graphics on the field so you can see real time what's happening. So here you see first and goal. So great job. Next question. What industry led the way for training in a highly realistic, risk-free virtual environment? Let's take a stab at that one. Think of simulations where if something bad was happening, it'd be very expensive and very deadly. Give you a
Viola
hint.
says pilot.
Pilots. Exactly. So, pilot simulations, these have been around flying simulations for a long time. This is XR. This is immersion. You're practicing, in a virtual space. You've got monitors all around you. I was even thinking back today as I was going through this, I was in high school, not too long ago, maybe it was a bit ago. We were doing, we were actually driving in simulators. So we were on the road and they had a big screen all around us and we're driving in these cars. They didn't want to put 14 and 15-year-olds on the road, so they had us in simulators. So definitely been around for a long time. And then lastly, what famous mobile game brought augmented reality into the mainstream for millions of users worldwide? Hint, I might have mentioned it earlier. Any takers?
Pokemon Go. Got it from Scotty and Rafaela.
All right, Pokemon Go, that's right. This is obviously a hugely popular game. It really brought AR to the forefront. I remember when my kids were younger, we're in California, we're driving, and one of my sons goes, "Dad, stop the car." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what is that?" I thought I was getting in a car accident. He said, "There's a Pokemon on the road. I have to go get it." And I was like, "Oh my God," he gave me a heart attack. So yeah, it was quite a craze. My other son's talking to these adult men about Pokemon. I'm like, "All right, let's go over here." So, quite funny, and people were just jumping over people's fences, like people were crazy about Pokemon. So it was quite a fun experience. So now we're going to get an XR for marketing. So what I want to share with you is a few examples of how, point in time, we've really used XR to help our customers. So this is a great example. Gila River Resorts Casinos has been our client for the last several years, and they came to us and said, "Hey, we've got to, lower attendance at our pool parties. We need to find an out-of-the-box way to really market them." So what we did is an augmented reality experience at Sky Harbor Airport using a QR code, a dynamic QR code that could change, versus having to download an app. And this led to a very high engagement. The pool parties are now the number one pool party in the state during the summer. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. You can.
Let's get it. Popping bottles nightly. Yeah, we're dancing slightly. This bass has got me feisty, feisty, feisty. Whoa, popping bottles nightly. Yeah, we're dancing slightly. This bass has got me feisty, feisty, feisty. Let's get it.
So a lot of fun. That video performed very well. We were able to track engagement, had thousands of people experience it. It actually led them to that landing page, would allow them to buy tickets. So you can share the video. Again, very interactive. And what's great is you can, again, see the ROI, with that. So it wasn't just a cool video. There was actually ROI with it. Next video I wanted to show you is NXP. So NXP is the fifth largest semiconductor company in the world. They came to us a few years ago and said, "Hey, we've got a really big trade show. We want to stand out, do something very different." We've all been to trade shows where they're handing out pens and pencils and candy and not very interesting. They wanted to actually say, "Can we take you inside of our chips?" So you actually shrink down to Ant-Man level and you can look around and experience what it's like inside. So we actually worked with their engineers and worked to get a two spec of what it's like being inside their chips. It was a huge success. They had a ton of people try it at the trade show, and it really led to a lot higher engagement with the product. So I'm going to play this quick little video for you so you can kind of see what that looked like. Oops. Pretty cool. So it's almost like, I'm just playing a little bit of it. You're flying through this in VR. You can look around, and it's really incredible. It kind of reminds me a little bit the way we did it, sort of like Tron, right? Very futuristic and a huge success for NXP. Another client came to us, Arizona milk producers, and said, "We really want to show how milk can, help the body, the bones, the muscles, and gear this towards children." So we said, "Why don't we do this in VR? You can take the headsets to the classes, and students can really experience what milk does while inside the body." So I'll play a short little clip from this as well. We got a full 360 view. You can look around.
With each workout, we push through. Our goal is to come out a little stronger than before.
Now you're inside the muscle.
With heavy resistance
really cool.
exercises, you create micro tears in your muscle fibers. And drinking chocolate milk after a tough workout provides natural, high-quality protein your body needs to repair and rebuild those muscles. Leucine and valine, which aid in muscle strength, preventing fatigue.
So you can see here you're actually inside the body. You can see how it's helping the muscles and the bones. So really great for education for students. And again, really big success for Arizona Milk. So awesome. Mylan came to us. They're actually one of the larger algae companies, and they wanted to be able to showcase what it's like, to be inside one of their containers. So, imagine on these trade shows, they couldn't bring the containers with them. So using augmented reality, we're actually able to create this in a AR environment with an iPad, and you could walk inside these cylinders. They can provide education on the product. So again, really big success for their trade show. And then ASU came to us as well a couple years ago for Thunderbird, their new campus, their new building, and wanted to be able to create a tour. So we actually went and scanned the whole building. You have a tour guide that kind of takes you around and shows you around the building, and you can experience, this new building in VR. If you don't have a headset, you can do it also on the desktop. Prior to this, we created the whole thing in VR using, all CGI. They raised over $60 million using our VR experience to help build the building. So it was a huge success for ASU, and the partnership has been awesome with Thunderbird and ASU. And then lastly, I wanted to show you, this one is Gila River Resorts Casinos. They wanted to be able to showcase, their event space. So for weddings, for corporate events. And so they're trying to figure out a unique way to do this. So what we did is we actually took Wild Horse and Wild Horse Pass and did a whole VR experience. Kind of similar to this here in Las Vegas, but really you're a passenger in this guided tour, and you can look around.
Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. It's a peaceful yet expansive getaway, minutes from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Our welcoming lobby invites you to experience the comfort of our world-class service and Arizona hospitality. Our lobby features separate entrances to our completely non-smoking casino and meeting areas. So whether you're looking to work or play, whatever you need is seconds away. Our premium service received the AAA 4 Diamond Award, and it's easy to see why. Our guest rooms are designed for comfort and practicality. Relax in one of our king rooms, or kick back in one of our remarkable suites. Both feature our plush bedding and modern amenities. Looking for an elevated experience? Our tower suite features regal king-bedded.
So think for any, hospitality clients, any clients you have that are, in a sort of resort business, or multifamily student housing, you're able to actually create these experiences, and they can tour it all in VR. So it was a huge success. They were able to 10x their initial investment after their first show, and it's been awesome for the casino. So again, it's a 180 experience. So as we're moving through it, you can look around. You've got full agency to kind of, experience the resort. So I want to take you to some big companies that are using XR and really show you some really interesting case studies. This is one of my favorite ones. IKEA has been doing this for a couple years now. It's just gotten better and better. But what a better way to, when you're buying furniture and you're wondering, what does that look like in that living room? If I put that yellow chair there. So IKEA actually created an AR app that's on their website you can download, so you can place the furniture in your room before you purchase it. It's achieved 8.5 million downloads, which is awesome, and 98% accuracy in room measurements, and a 30% reduction in return rates. So again, for IKEA, it was a huge success, and I'll play a short little video clip so you can see it in action.
Hey, IKEA would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true-to-scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this. And less of this. probably more of this. We want to make it easier for people everywhere to imagine a better place. Share this place and this place. Try place in your place.
So I love that video from IKEA. Again, they've done an incredible job with AR. They were one of the, forerunners in really, adopting augmented reality with their product. Another one I thought that was really fun was L'Oreal. So L'Oreal's AR tool helps customers to try different makeup products. So hair color, foundation, lipstick. You can do all that with their AR app. They've had over 20 million customers that have used this. A majority of them found it very helpful. It's helped 56% make a purchase. And so really just thinking through conversion and how can you enable your customers to really leverage AR and VR to help make decisions. L'Oreal did a great job. So I'll play a little bit of this clip for you.
As L'Oreal becomes more digitally focused, that focus isn't just on product. In early 2018, L'Oreal bought Toronto-based Modiface, a company specializing in artificial intelligence and augmented reality.
We had this website where you could change your lips with a celebrity. You could have different lips or different eyes for fun. And my co-founder had the idea, well, what if we let them have a facelift? So there was a facelift button that you could apply on your image. And that got the attention of a marketing manager at the company that makes Botox. And so our first simulation, when we were started, was for simulating skincare products. And eventually from there we moved to makeup and hair.
It began by allowing people to upload pictures and eventually video to allow users to find out which colours and products worked for them. It was all about being realistic.
What we do, I would say better than anyone else, is simulating real products. So our goal isn't to airbrush a photo to the maximum effect. It is to, if this is a foundation or a lipstick or a hair color, we just want to match that precise shade and effect.
So again, a great example of L'Oreal using this now, in augmented reality with their customers. Volvo, this is again one of my favorite ones here, is they actually use, hopefully some of you remember the Google Cardboard. That was a big craze. Would allow you just to really slip your smartphone inside there. Well, they actually allow you to test drive a car. So you can actually be inside one of their cars, using virtual reality or just that Google Cardboard experience. And so they found that it increased their test drive bookings by 3 times and customer engagement by 30%. And not a huge investment. Google Cardboards are not very expensive. I did something similar with Audi a couple years ago. My dream car is an R8, and so I'm actually inside an R8 in VR, like going 100 miles an hour. So it's a great way to get somebody excited to want to purchase a car. Sephora also did a great job. They have a virtual artist app that uses AR technology to try different types of makeup. It's led to 28% increased user adoption, a boost in overall traffic. And so I'll play a little bit of this clip. It's also been a big success for Sephora. I think my favorite part is the Etch-a-Sketch part. You can just shake and it gives you new looks. So that was kind of fun. So again, great job by Sephora. Had a lot of success with this. And then lastly, Mercedes-Benz. So Mercedes is something a little different than Audi. This is a augmented reality experience. You actually go into their showroom and you can actually see different colors, different tires on that car you want. So again, you don't have to imagine it. You can use AR to do that. So, they've achieved a 16.5 conversion rate for test drives and user spending average of 2 minutes and 40 seconds per session longer and really increased engagement. So I'll play this little clip. I thought this is really neat how Mercedes is using augmented reality. So again, lots of options with Mercedes. You can make all those changes right there. Don't have to visit multiple dealerships. So really, really cool. So now we're going to get into demystifying XR for your clients. So, really what's important is to be able to speak their language. I had actually a call, funny enough, yesterday with a potential client, and they're in the products industry. They're really wanting to, they've got their own um, uh, 501(c)(3) where they're trying to do a lot of outreach to help other people or nonprofit. And we were talking, and then the initial conversation was, well, we want to do something in XR. And as we talked through it, I said, well, why? Why do you want to do XR? And as we talked about, we want to create stories. And so we came up with some ideas of being able to actually using augmented reality to be able to tell those stories, using AR. So think of like 19 Crimes. They did a great job. Don't tell anybody the wine is not great. Actually, I was on a panel with the founder not too long ago, but the marketing was incredible, right? You scan your phone over the wine bottle and the label comes alive. I actually did one where the lady talks about how she had to steal bread, food for her children since during the Great Depression, and they threw her in Alcatraz. So, I mean, what an impactful way to tell a story, and you see that character come alive. So, in that case, as we were talking, I said, well, why VR? What about AR? What about traditional video? So it's, what I tell people is XR is not a one size fits all, but you really have to understand the language, understand the goals of your customer, and then, really what is the best solution for them. So, and also, start small. We have a lot of clients who will, instead of going, really big scale on an XR project, we'll do something smaller and then work our way up into something larger as it becomes more successful. Really, aligning yourself with partners, whether you're working with us or other XR partners to really help your customers and really to discover what is the best option for them. Some of the objections that we hear, it's too expensive, right? Looking at, the investment to create something, roll it out. A great example is Gila River. They came to us, they said, hey, we've got a whole new casino we're building. We've got to train over 1,000 people in a very short time frame. How can we do that? In that case, it really made a lot of sense. And so we said, let's roll an XR experience. We can put everybody in VR. We'll do about 100 people at a time. And you can actually take them around all the casinos. You can hear from the president. You can hear from the partners, whether it's the Suns, the Cardinals. Imagine busing 1,000 people around, how hard and long that would take. We're able to do these experiences within about an hour for these people. And so it saved, tens of thousands of dollars for Gila River. So you look at the initial investment versus what it would have cost to actually do this the old-fashioned way. It was a win-win, and they saved a ton of money. So again, a great example of, how this investment can really pay off. I hear this too. It's just a gimmick, right? It's like the 3D TV that, everybody said to buy. Now it's in my basement somewhere, or, my old 3D glasses. It's not a gimmick. You can see, and I'll show you some numbers, the investment that Meta's putting in, Google, it's in the billions of dollars. So these big brands wouldn't be investing this kind of money if they thought it was a gimmick, if they thought this was going to go away. My prediction, and we'll see this more and more come true, is that, our smartphones are going to be similar to payphones, right? I show my 7-year-old a payphone not the other day. And he goes, Dad, what is that? And I was like, that's how we used to make phone calls. So it's going to be the same with our phones. It's going to be a wearable. You'll be making calls on your phone. You'll be using Google Maps. Yeah, you won't have to have a handheld device. And so it's not a gimmick. This is the future. we don't have the technical expertise. So again, positioning yourself, with a partner that can help with that complexity, help, walk them through the process is really key, to help your customers become successful. This one I hear too, our audience just isn't ready. We're finding more and more, it's not just, you know, uh, Gen Z or millennials, a lot more people are using XR. It's becoming more mainstream. And you really, you look at, early adopters, right? Smartphones, not everybody had the iPhone 1, right? Those early adopters, that small percentage. And then you get the next wave of people that, start to adopt the technology. And then you have your late adopters, right? My parents in their, uh, 90s now have smartphones. So, so eventually those late adopters are going to adopt this technology. So right now the early adopters, are using XR and it's continued to grow where then everyone's going to be using it. So what's coming next? I get excited about this part. It's kind of fun. We talked to Apple Vision Pro. Apple does a lot really well. And we talked about the Vision Pro, how it's like wearing everything in your laptop. So imagine you're on an airplane and you're working very minority report, right? Pulling things down. I can watch a movie. I can be in, doing text messages and emails. And I can still talk to my wife who's next to me in the passenger seat, right? And if she comes into view, I can see her and have a conversation. So you're able to do a lot of stuff. That is as bad as it's going to get. That is their first attempt at creating an XR experience. It's only going to get better. They have a lot of AI components in there. It's an amazing headset. So we talked about spatial computing, smart contact lenses. They're trying to get FDA approval. It's a tiny little microchip that sits in the lens, and you can put it on your eye, and you can be in VR whenever you want to. No one would know. And then lastly, Neuralink. We all know about Elon's Neuralink. They are still taking test subjects. If any would like to volunteer, let me know. But they can actually, implant in your brain. He's using it for people right now with disabilities. But imagine being able to push a button, all of a sudden you're in VR or AR in that experience. So really, really cool stuff. We talked about the financial impact. So look at how much Meta is spending. It's $46 billion. Apple, $33 billion, and Google, $17 billion. They're coming out with some of you might remember their Google Glass that they scrapped many years ago. Well, guess what? It's coming back better than ever. So they're all doubling down. This isn't everybody. Samsung, HTC, like all of them invested, tons and tons of money because they see this as the future. So marketing in an immersive environment. We're already seeing this now, but sporting events, Olympics, 360 movies, video games, concerts. You can go to concerts right now. There's plenty of those, in 360 VR. So a lot of these things are already doing this, and you're going to continue to see more of that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're not even going to get into education and higher learning and all those other things. But, one thing we've seen, and we do a lot in education, a 75% higher retention rate when somebody's using XR versus traditional methods. So imagine, the traditional way, you're sitting at a desk, you hear somebody lecturing, about dinosaurs. Well, you put the headset on. Now I'm actually walking with the dinosaurs. ASU has their biology lab. You actually get to experience and, work with different animals, and you're in this kind of, virtual space. And so you're fully immersed. So again, retention rate is much, much higher. I always like to kind of finish with this video. It's a little dystopian. It's a lot of fun, but it goes into what the future could look like. This video's been out for a couple years. I think it's still a fun representation of I've got a wearable on and I'm getting bombarded with messaging. I'm getting hit with ads and someone's calling me. So I'll play a little of this video. It's called Hyper Reality.
Fantastic. Great. Nice. Great.
Más tarde. Apúrate si quieres una buena calificación.
Voy lo más rápido que puedo.
¿Has pensado en correr? Es saludable y eficiente.
Seguro que no hay más trabajos disponibles. Yo estudié para ser profesora y estoy haciendo mercados.
Y además puedes quedarte con los puntos de fidelización. Eres una monje afortunada. Tienes que confiar en la aplicación. ¿Te sientes inspirada? Gracias. Chao.
¿Quién soy yo? No, eso no es lo que quiero decir. ¿Para dónde voy? No. Puedo volver a empezar. Olvídalo.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo. Estoy libre de mi ira. Estoy libre de mi tristeza. El amor es mi
Adiós.
So fun video. Obviously, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of information. We won't even get into social status and how some countries are using that. You can see how she's like, do I clear my identity? You lose points. But again, having all those holograms, you've got, somebody calling her, she's able to Google things. This is not just a, a sci-fi video. These are things are actually you're going to start seeing with more of these headsets. So very exciting, a little scary at the same time. But hope you enjoyed that. All right, well, let's get into the Q&A. So, Elizabeth, do you want to help me kind of moderate that?
Yes, if anybody has questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or the Q&A, and we will get to those one by one. Okay, Scotty says, what is an example of a small step into the XR world for a client?
Awesome. Great. So great question. Thank you, Scotty. So yeah, a great first start, is we didn't talk too much about it, but 360, video is a great way to start. So, using that spherical video, we do that a lot for Axon Taser, where we do a lot of their training, in a 360, experience. So think of that full panoramic. So that's a great way to start if you've got, someone that's trying to, let's say, has an event space. So like, saw for Gila River, creating that full 360 experience. That is a great way to start. If it needs to be a VR experience, what I tell people is like, we don't need to create the whole world, So for instance, for Thunderbird, we started off creating a couple spaces, and then as it grew, we said, okay, let's make more of the building. So again, taking little bite-sized chunks is a great way to start. Ian, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think 180 video, it's 180 degree hemisphere, but it still has the 3D stereoscopic depth information. So one eye seeing one set of information, and one eye seeing another, just like your real eyes. So like when you watch that Gila 180 VR video, you afterwards you feel like you're there, like you know what it's like to walk in the building, you know how big that giant horse is in the lobby. So like I feel like there's a lot of, and that form factor is really similar to like, more similar to like a traditional video that like your clients would be used to, like, the whole pipeline is used to. And I think that that's like an easy kind of step into the world. Like it's the closest thing to what everyone's used to, but still you can be in a headset, you can explore it on a computer, but you really do feel like you're there. It's like a really good first step.
Awesome. Hopefully that helps, Scotty. Any other questions? No? No other questions? All right. Well, if not, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I hope everybody enjoyed this experience and getting to go through this. So what we'll do is we'll send a copy of this out to everyone here, so you'll have a copy of this recording. And hopefully this was educational, learned a few things. Feel free to reach out to any of us and or me here. You've got my contact information. If you like more information or like to brainstorm or dive into some ideas and into XR, we'd happy to do that and chat some more. So thank you everybody for your time and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.